And before we get into the iPhones, I'm just going to spend no more than a few seconds here reacting to the whole event. I have two words: snooze fest. I'm not joking. An hour and a quarter of that event, which is about nearly 2 hours, could have been just a press release in my opinion. In this video, we're going to talk about every single product that Apple launched today in Apple's Glowtime event, but we're going to focus a lot more on the iPhone 16 updates, if you can call it that. The Apple Watch Series 10, Watch Ultra 2, the AirPods and AirPods Max will all be at the end of the video, so feel free to jump to that if you don't care about the iPhones. I'm Alex and I do down-to-earth tech videos. Now, the new iPhone 16 and 16 Plus do have a few updates, but don't get too excited though about the action button, because that was on the Pro devices last year, and I gotta say to you, look, it's not that exciting, right? I've tried every single way to configure the action button, ended up just not using it, or maybe just using it as my camera button. You know, it wasn't really anything to be excited about. The new iPhone does have a pretty exciting new CPU though, the A18, which is a 6-core CPU. It also has a new 5-core GPU. All of these things to kind of help support Apple Intelligence. They talked a lot about Apple Intelligence or AI, and this bit was quite funny here, right? During the event, they put one of Apple's top leaders, Craig Federighi, in a literal walled garden to talk about Apple Intelligence, which I thought was quite fitting really. The one feature to call out here though is writing tools. This feature is really cool. And if you haven't seen this before, it's something that came to Galaxy AI, for example, earlier this year. I do think that Apple makes it look friendlier, which is a nice change. I just love using that on my Galaxy phones. That sort of AI feature is not a gimmick. It has the potential to make you more efficient, so I like that. Out of all the Apple Intelligence features, this is the one that I encourage you to really pay attention to. Now, when it comes to AI features in Photos, in the Photos app, I'm not liking this. And there are a few reasons why I don't like this, but the main one really that's worth calling out is because of the potential for further handcuffs to the Apple ecosystem. If you are already in the Apple ecosystem and you've got everything already, you know, in that nice setup, then you won't have too much of an issue. But none of these features are new, right? They just look slightly different. Some of the things there that they were showcasing existed already even within the Apple ecosystem in the Photos app, especially when they show things like, you know, this intricate search terms. Yeah, we've been doing that for a few years now in Google. Now, before we get into the cameras, which are decent now, they've got some really nice updates in there. The big talk of the town this year is that camera control button. This camera control feature does seem very useful, especially when trying to quickly find settings, for example, in the camera app. If you're out and about and trying to do something for work, for example, it's definitely a pretty useful thing to have. But overall, it doesn't seem like a huge upgrade for me. I gotta be honest, you know, why that slider can't just be like a display, you know, as part of the UX. And talking about cameras, actually, I'll just preface this whole section here with what I said in my buying guide. If you are coming from a much older iPhone, like the iPhone 11 or even older, then even the iPhone 13 Pro or Pro Max will be a huge upgrade for you at a fraction of the cost. Just thought I'd leave that nugget of information there so you can consider it if your budget is tight or whatever. You know, sometimes an upgrade doesn't always have to be the latest and greatest, especially knowing that some of these features are not even out yet on the iPhone 16. So you're getting an iPhone 16 that not only looks like the iPhone 15, but kind of does the same thing as well out of the box. So the main camera on the iPhone 16 is an upgrade. It's now a 48 megapixel camera with a 2x telephoto, a new ultra wide as well with autofocus, larger aperture and more pixels, which means it will be a great little phone for point and shoot, but it will be more than that, right? For a regular iPhone, these are actually pretty awesome, almost like semi-pro features, especially for low light shooting. Here's the best and probably the one that I was particularly waiting for. There was rumors about it, but I was happy to see Apple confirming it today, which is the new macro on the iPhone 16. These AI features though, you know, to remove stuff from photos, they're all really cool, very fancy things. You know, the Apple do make things look nice, but Android users will be like, bro, we've seen this, right? We've had this for years now, come on. I know Apple do seem to take their time sometimes with the simplest things, you know, even a calculator on the iPad, you know, it's like they had to wait years to get it. Anyway, when it comes to what that new chip can do, the A18, it looks really powerful and impressive on paper anyway. The iPhone 16 now supports AAA games, which, you know, Resident Evil, I think they mentioned Assassin's Creed, and one that's supposed to be incredible and played by the whole world, Honor of Kings World. I never heard of the game, maybe I'm too old for it, I don't know, but I'll give it a go. Not sure if anyone noticed though, when they were showing that game specifically, the game actually looked quite laggy on the demo. Anyway, maybe it was just like a a presentation issue, but you can guarantee I will be testing that here like I do every year. So please make sure, if you like my stuff, have a look on the channel after this. It would be awesome to have you here if you subscribed as well. There's loads of videos coming up. I've got like 14 videos coming up in the next 2 months. Insane amount of content for you. I mean, if you like tech, share this video with your friends as well. Put it on the WhatsApp group. That would be much appreciated. A couple of other things they announced for the iPhone 16, which was Find My via satellite in 17 countries. Roadside assistance for the UK, they already had that in the US. So if you care about those features, that's coming to the regular iPhone 16. And the price was nice as well. Apple for many, many years have kept the price of the iPhone the same, right? It's $799 and $899 for the Plus. They did mention one thing that I think is still very true, which is that the iPhone does hold value better than the competition. They said that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's true. But the question I would pose Apple is, does every customer feel like they get value for money with the iPhone? I know I recently haven't felt that way. I feel like I'm paying for something premium, and it does feel premium, but I don't get that value for money feel that I get with Android devices, for example. So make sure you do check my buying guide. That video is very popular. Just before the event, it was getting like thousands and thousands of views, which is great. It's called Don't Waste Your Money, but it's not really what I mean there. It's just trying to help you not overspend. And hey, I say this in pretty much every video. I don't think anyone can tell you what to do. You've got to kind of do your own assessment. But what I can do is share my many, many years of frustration. I did have some joy with Apple, to be fair, but that was a long time ago. But anyway, I hope that's valuable and I hope that helps you in your decision. When it comes to the pros though, I have to say the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max look stunning. The videos I was seeing before the launch did worry me a little bit because the leaked videos, but what Apple showed us looked absolutely beautiful, to be fair. The displays are larger now at 6.3 and 6.9 inches. They also reduced the bezels, which is nice, but they seem to have kept the same properties in terms of refresh rate and brightness. They claim to have the best battery life ever, which is expected. They will always say that, but then again, like with the iPhone 16, they seem to be focusing a lot on Apple Intelligence when it comes to the Pro devices. If all you want is access to Apple Intelligence though, there are two call-outs here. One is the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus will be enough for you, right? They will have those features. And the second call-out, those features are being rolled out in December to a lot of countries, not every single country. And then next year, whatever next year means, to more countries, but does suggest still that it won't be available to everyone even next year. And just like I predicted in my previous videos, this is where the good old tricks start to come up, right? Certain features like video and photo editing features, audio recording features, which to be fair looked amazing, are going to be available only on the Pro models, which I don't know. They'll try to say, oh, there's not enough memory or the processor isn't fast enough on the regular. It doesn't feel to me like converting a little bit of video and audio needs the A18 Pro. The A18 Pro does have a better GPU. They claim it can perform 2 times faster than the previous model when it comes to ray tracing in particular. But the key thing for me is the power usage that Apple is claiming here is quite impressive, right? This new chip is 20% more efficient, which should be great on things like playing games and also, more importantly, especially for me right now, the battery. We shall see though. Apple's claims are, quite impressive, but I'll be the judge of that and I'll properly put it to the test. In that buying guide that I mentioned, I discussed the various options that you've got for upgrading. There's a lot of detail in that video, but here's a quick summary table. If you don't watch that entire video, this table might help you, might be useful information for you. Whichever iPhone model you choose, you're likely gonna need a decent protective case for it and some really cool accessories to go with it, which brings me to Casetify, who is making this video possible today. And Casetify has incredible new products now. Their cases are not just a great protective choice, but continue to be one of the most stylish ones out there, as you can see here. There are many different choices you can go for. You can even customize your own case. I really appreciate Casetify as well because they spent a lot of time with me and they supported me from the very early days of the channel. And just a few days ago, they took the time to share a lot of what goes behind the scenes, for the new iPhone. They shared with me all the new exciting products that they've been working on and all the good work that they do from a brand perspective as well. It's nice to see a brand growing and expanding. They're in Paris now, especially when it's a brand that I was a customer of before doing these videos. And this one here is the brand new 2024 Ultra Bounce model. And this new Ultra Bounce case is the most protective case. It encapsulates pretty much what Casetify is all about. It's perfect for life on the go, and it's a great combination of protection, style, and versatility. Casetify actually redesigned the corners on this case, making it by far the most protective and versatile case, unlocking this really cool multifunctionality here with this new attachment system. From a protection perspective, we get the usual excellent protection here. You know, we're used to seeing that especially in the bounce and the ultra bounce cases. And to give you an idea of that protection, this case has a whopping 32.8 feet drop protection. That is the absolute best protection, and you can guarantee I will be testing that. I'll be putting this to the test like I do every year. Now, this is really cool. As well as the new ultra bounce model, we get this new attachment system. So stay tuned for my next video where I'm going to show you how I personally use this and all the cool different ways in which you can use this system. There's some really fun and trendy ways in which you can use this. I really can't wait to show you more on that. And the great news for you is that Casetify is giving you 15% off your order today. You can grab yours today from casetify.com/AlexG, or if you're watching this from a TV, you can just scan the QR code here. And thanks so much Casetify for sponsoring this video. Going back to the cameras on the 16 Pro and the Pro Max here, Apple kept the same 5x camera and brought the tetraprism tech to the 16 Pro as well. As I said in my recommendations recently, there's a huge opportunity for you to save money here if you don't want to get the Pro Max. The smaller iPhone 16 Pro could be the one for you. Unless you really need that larger display. I know what it's like. I've been getting the Pro Max for many years, especially the display being slightly bigger now on the 16 Pro as well. That could be a much more budget-friendly option for you. I know it's still $1,000, right, more or less. Overall, I wanted to record this video pretty quickly after the event. Is literally just finished watching the event. Overall, I'm not kind of feeling the most excited about the iPhone. It's not the most exciting even as an update that I've seen in recent years. But what I did find exciting was the new Apple Watch Series 10. Not the Ultra. I have a mini rant coming up about that one. But the new Apple Watch Series 10 looks insane. The Series 10 has a beautiful new display and is actually bigger than the Apple Watch Ultra display. Don't ask me why. And when we're busy outdoors, whether you're working out or driving or whatever it might be, a whole extra line of texting messages or emails or whatever it might be that you might be reading doesn't sound like much, but it does make a big difference. The front crystal of the Series 10 is made with ionic glass. I had to look that up, to be honest. It's basically the same as Gorilla Glass, but Gorilla Glass is more like a specific brand of glass made by Corning, which is a company, whereas ionic glass is just the same sort of like strengthened glass, but could be made by other people. Under the crystal is the first ever wide-angle OLED display. And what that means is, the display is 40% brighter when you're viewing it from an angle outside. This is really nice. I like that. I don't know if it's Apple's idea, but it's a really cool feature. And I want to put that to the test as well against all my watches here, my Garmin as well, which I don't think any smartwatch can beat from a fitness tracking perspective, but more on that when I get the watch. The Series 10 watch speakers were redesigned, and Apple claimed that you can actually listen to music without your earbuds on this. Okay. That, I have to say, I doubt very much, but whatever you say, Apple. This watch is now Apple's thinnest Apple Watch, and it does look very sleek, to be honest. Now, here's where I think they missed a trick a little bit, because they focus a lot on talking about like sleep apnea and sleep tracking in general, and how this watch can help you identify those issues, right? But the world, I think, has moved on from sleep tracking on a watch, right? There was a Fitbit initially and all these other things. But we're now all using rings. There are so many smart rings now, and they, combined with the mics on the phone, most of them can detect sleep apnea now too. It's one of those things. One of my YouTube friends on Twitter said that it's coming, but I just wish it would be here by now. Now, one of my bugbears with smartwatches in general is how long some of them take to charge. It was a nice surprise to hear that they are using a new coil here to make it charge faster. I certainly appreciate that. On top of all of this, there are a few new colors as well, and what looks like new bands too, which looks pretty cool. Oh, they also show this gorgeous polished titanium, which, wow, not gonna lie, those 3 new colors in titanium looked amazing in the videos. Really can't wait to see them in real life. But when it comes to the Apple Watch Ultra 2, I've got to be careful not to swear here so I don't get demonetized. But the same watch in just a different color, so not even like a better battery. Are you kidding me? Look, I'm just gonna leave it here, right? Let me know what you think about the Watch Ultra 2. I'm very close to just kind of losing it here. I mean, sure, awesome color, don't get me wrong. And actually, my Watch Ultra 2 initial review about a year ago, I thought the black color was coming out then. It just feels like, it was meant to be out when the Watch Ultra 2 came out, and they just forgot to produce it. And then the new AirPods, and I thought this was funny actually, they said something like, we analyzed thousands of ear shapes. I must have a pretty unique ear shape then, because Anyway, I'll reserve judgment for now because I haven't got the product, but they always say this. I go for a run, literally within a minute, this thing is falling out. And just when I thought the Watch Ultra 2 in black was bad enough and I was already triggered, they announced the new colors and USB-C as if it was some sort of incredible feature for the AirPods Max. I mean, I was 3-4 years old now, and they changed the charging port and the new colors. And those things are always coming, right? New colors, whatever, but the port was always going to come. You know, the lightning is dying. I don't know. Apple seems to have changed a lot recently. I just feel, as a customer, before I am a tech reviewer, I just feel a little bit disappointed. You know, I love their Macs. You know, there's nothing that can beat an Apple MacBook. Right? Those things are the gold standard for computing. But when it comes to handheld devices and smartwatches, I'm just getting a little bit disappointed, if I'm honest. Tim kept saying, you know, that Apple are focusing on integration, helping customers be healthy, connected, productive, and entertained. And I was like, productive? Really? I slightly disagreed with that one because just based on how little work I can do on my iPhone and my iPad, you can barely open 2 apps on the iPhone. I don't think you can actually. I hope we can connect on the next video, and I'll see you there. Cheers.